What I'm about to show you in this huge video is something that could take Bitcoin all the way up to $47,000 or down to 16 as our first target, potentially down to levels like $12,000. And I'm going to break down for you exactly why I'm seeing that in this YouTube video. And it's all because we're sitting at a critical area of resistance right now as we speak. Take a look at it on this chart right here. This is a resistance line that we've had for Bitcoin for quite some time. We were actually able to use it as support back in 2021 a good number of times over here, and then a little bit in 2022 as well, with this big flash crash that we had for Bitcoin as well. But when we fell below this level, Bitcoin did start finding resistance here quite predictably here. One rejection, two rejections, three rejections right here, and we are sitting at this resistance area again, and this is huge. I'm going to break down for you exactly why as we go on through this video, and we need to take ourselves over to this chart to get a closer view of things, because right here on the weekly time frame, very zoomed out perspective, what we can see is that the last time we got rejected off this level, we got a clean 28% rejection within about 2 months. If we see something like that happening again now, that is going to put us down to a target of $16,300 with the same kind of 28% rejection if we get something like that again, which would take us down to the bottom of this price range that we've been able to find support in over basically the last 2 to 3 months. I don't want to see that happen. That would be quite a substantial drop in and of itself. And actually, the key thing that would allow Bitcoin to do that, in my opinion, would be if we end up losing this support area around the $21,000 area. Because if we lose this 21K area, you know, we could get a little bit of a rejection here, but it might just look something a little bit like this. See, where we get a bit of a rejection and then bam, we mount our second attack. That is, as long as we don't fall below this area right here. Because if we do fall below this area, well, it could mean that we start flipping and turning these areas into resistance, meaning that if we drop down, we're going to have to fight an even harder fight to get back up. So that's not necessarily something that I'd want to see right with this current price action here. But we'll come back to the short-term chart in just a second. I want to switch back to the weekly time frame because this is very important with where we are at the moment. And the thing is, with what we see, with what we have here on this chart, is a big pullback like this would take us right back down to the bottom of the range that we were in, a few weeks back, and that would be quite a dangerous position for Bitcoin, in my opinion, because we never really had particularly strong support in this general area to begin with, in my opinion, and I was warning you guys about that a lot while we were trading down there. And so, if we are able to lose a support level like this, to me, that might mean that we have to find support at our next logical areas on the chart, which, with what I'm seeing, isn't going to be until we drop down to around $12,000. Now, you could definitely say that 14K, a little bit higher, would be our next area of support, and I think that would be fair. However, given that we've now seen a retracement upwards, this is kind of what makes things worse for Bitcoin, is that if we end up moving back down, that means that this whole retracement that we've had to the upside here, where we've managed to go up to, at the time of me recording, something like $22,000, $23,000, that would mean that this all has been a bull trap pretty much since the beginning, which would be quite dangerous for the market. You see, if we're able to rally up like this and then drop down, that essentially means that one of the big theories in this space right now, which I think is very likely to be true if we're actually in a bull trap. I'm not saying we're in a bull trap, but if we are, it's very likely to be true that this whole rally that we're in right now is kind of being engineered in order for the really big whales to get some exit liquidity, right? Because if you imagine that the price is able to rally up to levels like $25,000, $30,000, there's going to be a lot of liquidity below that, for people to, just hammer in sell orders, where if you need to sell a lot of Bitcoin, but you needed to do it, say over here, you probably would have crashed the price very low and gotten a very bad exit price. But by pumping the price higher, you're potentially, even if you crash the market a little bit, you're potentially getting a really good exit price in this market, right? So this is one of those things that kind of paints the image of a bull trap, where if we do end up retracing down now, people are talking about levels like $10,000, $9,000. I think we would go way lower than that now if we end up retracing down. So you better fucking hope that doesn't happen, because this would be a hell of a bull trap at this stage, because we are in a very explosive rally in terms of time. It's happened in a very short space of time, and in terms of price, because we pumped up by a lot, right? By a little bit more than 50%. So very big rally so far. Let's be honest, it's probably going to get even bigger. And with that in mind, if it does end up getting bigger and then we pull back, you know, I'm not even sure that levels like $12,000 would sustain the price of Bitcoin. So I don't want to stay too negative for too long, because I actually think that we're more likely to break up. And here's the thing is, if we do manage to break up on this chart, here's that same resistance level, but I'm showing you what happened when we managed to flip it and turn it into support. On this occasion here, we found a 105% pump to the upside. On this occasion here, we found a 129% pump to the upside. Both of these pumps set new all-time highs for Bitcoin. Right here, we managed to top out at about 64,000, and right here, we managed to top out at about 69,000. Very, very impressive rallies. And if we just take the smaller one of these two pumps, and we take that from where we potentially be breaking out from right up to the top, bam, that gives us very, very nicely a $47,000 price target for Bitcoin, which would also mean that we have to overcome this weekly Ichimoku cloud. No, I'm not too worried about that. And if it happens quickly, which it certainly could, given how quickly it's happened before, then, you know, this cloud wouldn't even be a problem because it's not really there, right? I mean, if we kind of do it before, I don't know, it's hard to say what kind of time frame this is. It looks like kind of March. If we do it like by then or a little bit earlier, I'm not saying this is likely to happen at all, but if we do, the good thing is we wouldn't really have much resistance, which is, I think, important to keep in mind. I know that it sounds really far out there that Bitcoin can do something like this, but I've actually been saying this since Bitcoin was down at the bottom of this range right here, that I'm expecting a $30,000, $40,000 Bitcoin. Those of you that are subscribed are going to know that I've been talking about that a lot. And one of the reasons I was saying that is because when Bitcoin starts to rally, especially after kind of price areas like what we've been sat in for a long time recently, you know, we end up finding ourselves in positions where the price just rallies really high. People feel a lot of fear of missing out. I mean, the sentiment just completely flies to the upside. Nobody wants to sell Bitcoin. People only want to buy Bitcoin. And because there isn't much liquidity in the market, because nobody wants to sell Bitcoin, as I've been saying, we're able to just really skyrocket the price to astronomical, ridiculous levels. And I think that that's possible to happen again, not just because we've already seen it, but because that's how it's happened over the last few times that we've rallied above this kind of price level. Let me actually draw this line for you guys on the chart so we can take a little bit more of an interactive look at what we're seeing here, because I think it's really, really interesting. And as far as I know, no one's actually talking about this on YouTube. If you appreciate that, do me a favor and throw a thumbs up on this video. It really does help out with the algorithm and all of that stuff. But if we take a look at this same line right here, guys, I mean, absolutely explosive moves up right here. Like I said, really nice support hits as well, right? I mean, if we just kind of measure, like, it doesn't even have to be a big pump. If it just ends up being like a 34% pump to the upside, we're still looking at really nice price targets, like $30,000. These all, whether we get, you know, a pump above this line or a rejection, are really, really good trade setups, right? I mean, one thing for sure, like, it's hard to say if we're going to move up or down. I mean, that's obviously open to interpretation a little bit more, but one thing that I can say with a lot more certainty is that no matter what happens, we're getting a lot of volatility, right? Well, no matter what happens, if it's a move up or if it's a move down, it's going to be fucking huge. It's going to be a huge, huge price move. And that is exactly what we're looking for as traders. With ranges like this or ranges like this, you can make a lot of money. And the great thing that I want to highlight for you before I continue here is that Bybit is going to be offering you a bunch of free cash to trade these ranges. You can trade anything you like with the free cash they're giving you when you sign up using my link and head over here to the rewards hub, which you can also do on your smartphone. Just download it on the App Store. When you sign up using my link and head over to the rewards hub, you're going to be getting up to $30,000 completely free of charge, and you can just throw that into any number of trades you like. If you lose the money, it's free, so it doesn't matter. But if you make money with that, you know, up to $30,000 in bonuses they're giving you, you can keep it. You can withdraw it, which is a huge, huge offer. Very much worth looking into. They have a lot of offers, not just like 30K. Obviously, some are a little bit less crazy, like 5K, but there's still huge bonuses because whatever you get, you can throw it right back into trades and take that money home as well if you make money. So it's almost like a free trade, you know, if you think we're going to get rejected or if you think we're going to pump up, which I think is a really, really cool opportunity, well worth taking advantage of. Definitely check it out with the links in the description down below. And the thing is that if we do end up getting that move up, given that we've already been moving so quickly, it kind of fits in with this, dare I say, parabolic narrative that we have right now in this market. I'm not saying that we're definitely going to continue it, but again, if you kind of look at how this has moved in the past, I mean, you know, some weeks of a retracement, but then just bam, right back to it. You know, in this case, couple months of a retracement, but then bam, right back to it. It's not totally out of the realm of possibilities, I would say, for Bitcoin to pull something off like this. And so I'm excited for it with that reason in mind as well. If we take a look at some of the moving averages that we've got on the chart here, there is a lot of resistance. This is important to keep in mind. It's not just this resistance line that's going to be potentially causing some problems for Bitcoin. We've also got a huge amount of momentum working against Bitcoin as well, which is not something that I'm happy to see. If we take a look at our key moving averages, we're also about to form a death cross on the weekly time frame, which is huge. To be honest, I don't think that Bitcoin can avoid this in any way anymore. This in itself requires a whole new video, and if you want me to cover it, then do me a favor and let me know if you want me to make a video on that, and just drop it in the comments. Tell me that you want that, and I'll go ahead and take a look at that for you guys. But not only are we getting a death cross right here, literally within the next few weeks, like I said, I don't think we can avoid this anymore. Bitcoin would have to go really high, really high to pull this red EMA, to pull this red MA a little bit higher now. I just don't see it happening. It would probably have to reach like hundreds of thousands of dollars to avoid it at this point. So yeah, it's just not gonna happen. And at the same time, we're also trading into the moving averages as well. So when you trade into moving averages, like when you're below them, they can serve as resistance, right? I mean, here's a good example where we traded into this moving average. We got quite a nasty rejection. It also works in reverse. So if you're able to trade above it and you fall down onto it, you can also use it as support. See, in this occasion it didn't work as resistance, but you can use it as support, and it has been used as support many times across this chart, many times. It's really interesting to see how history repeats itself, or at least how it rhymes, because if you look at this rejection over here, it actually looks really similar to this rejection over here, to me at least. And now we've got both moving averages here. So I mean, when you take a little bit, and this is the thing, right? And I've been saying this in all of my recent YouTube videos, is that the short-term chart looks amazing. The short-term chart looks really good, but when you zoom out, we have a really bad chart here, ladies and gents, and it is going to take a lot to help Bitcoin get out of this situation. Bitcoin can pump up to levels like $25,000 and $30,000, and it's still going to be in a really bad position where, to be honest, for long-term investments at price levels like this and towards 30K, I don't even think it makes sense buying. I don't. I mean, there might be some upside, in the next few weeks and months, but you look at moving averages like this, and you look at, just the economic climate. Is it really the time where you want to be piling your money into extremely risky assets like Bitcoin? You know what I mean? Like, for me, I'm totally cool because I've been in this space for like 6 years now, and I love Bitcoin. I'd hold it down to zero if that's where it's headed, and that's totally fine by me. And ultimately, I'm going to trade it anyway, right? I'm a derivatives trader. I'm a leverage trader. So whatever happens, I'm just going to trade it down or trade it up, and I'm going to make more money anyway. And that's what I've been doing. So, for out of my last 6 years as a trader, I've been doing this for 5 of those years. I'm very well versed with it now, and I'm okay with that. But as a long-term investor, I think a lot of people, if this continues to intensify, are going to feel a lot of fear of missing out, and that is not a reason to chase them and jump on that bandwagon as well, because it's just not what you want to see. Like, short term, I'm extremely bullish. I have to be. Looking at the chart, there's nothing bearish about our short term chart. It's really good. But long term, guys, with moving averages like this, you know what I mean? Like, it is a hell of a fight that Bitcoin is going to have to put up. And the thing is that if we do put up that fight, well then yeah, it would be very well rewarded with a huge price target up to price levels like $47,000. It could even be what kicks off the next bull run, dare I say. The only thing that, could be a challenge for Bitcoin on its way up would be this $30,000 level outlined right here with this green box. So it's a really interesting point for Bitcoin. Again, I don't really know why people aren't talking about this trend line right here. This is something that you and I have been discussing on this channel for a good amount of time now. If you've been subscribed, you'll know all about that. And a lot of the kind of chart patterns that we've been looking at over the long term have actually been quite useful to analyze. I gave you another example with this chart right here, showing you that, again, it's a very similar resistance line that we're at right now, but drawn completely differently. How we were, finding really good engagement from these kind of very long-term chart patterns, which again, like you guys know, I don't even really talk about very often, right? It's not common that I talk about the long-term chart, but when I do, it's I mean, you've seen it, you've seen the proof over the last years, basically. I don't, you can look back at any of my videos over the last years. I mean, the success rate is there. I mean, we're calling the shots very, very accurately, and yeah, this is a time where yeah, it looks really good on the short-term basis, but a little bit more zoomed out, and let's just not be naive, basically, is the note that I would want to wrap this one up on, because this is still quite treacherous territory. Like I said, if we do manage to break it, well then yeah, no doubt, I'm sure we're going to be able to rise very, very high, and that would be absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? That could even still fit the bear market narrative, going up to like $47,000 and then coming back down. Bitcoin did something very similar to that when it went from 20K down to 3 and then back up to 14. And we all know about that rally. So entirely possible that we reproduce something like that right now. And so this is something that I'm going to keep watching, right? The thing that complicates all of this is that on the short-term chart, it looks overwhelmingly likely that we're going to break this resistance area. I mean, even if we get a little bit of a pullback, I was even saying we could fall down to $19,000 and still be okay, right? According to, what is it? According to, where is it? Is it this chart? No, I'm sorry. I'm losing my chart. It's this one right here. According to this chart right here, that wouldn't be so good. But with all of the other analysis I've given you, which is what I'm going to lean on a little bit more, especially for this short-term chart, we're in a good place. And dropping down a little bit wouldn't really be a problem, even down to levels like 19K, like I said, because that's actually where we have a lot of support on this chart. Take a look at this. Let's zoom in. See this? This big green range right here? Bam, 18.5 right up to 19.6. Really, really good range. Okay, really, really good range. Yeah, I've got to wrap this up to find Bitcoin finding some support in. So there you go, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have. Check out Bybit to get those huge cash bonuses for literally free trading money, where you can take those profits home. If you want to see how I'm trading these markets, then jump inside of 𝗬𝗙's VIP by following these steps on screen. This link down here is going to take you into 𝗬𝗙's Gold, which is my free Telegram channel where I'm giving you more analysis around the markets, around the clock on these markets. Again, free of charge, just for myself and my team. Click on my name at the bottom of any post there and then send message. It's just 3 very simple clicks to get into a direct chat with me, where you can ask me anything you like, including the details on how to get inside. So there you go. Really hope you have enjoyed this one. You know what to do if you have, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.